Hey guys, how's it going? Please ignore this, but anyway, let's just move on with the video. Alright, so this right here is a Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro, the latest budget flagship from the house of Xiaomi, and goes head to head with the OnePlus 8T. Now, I'm not going to be doing a full-fledged comparison because that is something that Ashish is already doing on the GT Hindi channel, so go ahead and check that out. But because both of these phones offer a very good camera setup, I decided to just put both of them against one another and see which phone makes more sense for someone who is just interested in a more better camera setup. Well, that's what this video is all about. This is Varun from Guiding Tech and you're watching my in-depth camera comparison of the OnePlus 8T versus the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. Let's get started. So let's kick things off with the daylight segment and more so with HDR processing. Now in this first shot, you'll see that the 8T gets the balance right while also managing to get better details. Greens of the leaves, the reds of the buildings, everything is well highlighted while managing to capture the sun as well. With the Mi 10T Pro, everything is darker and has a higher contrast. Now this is further illustrated in this next shot. While the 8T gets the bricks right, the Mi 10T Pro darkens it all. I mean, it doesn't even look like a proper HDR shot, to be very honest with you. However, it's not like the Mi 10T is all bad. For instance, that 108 megapixel sensor can capture a lot of details. Here, in this shot of a doorway, the HDR is good on both, though the 8T has a slight edge here. That said, if you zoom a bit over here, the details on the Mi 10T Pro are on some next level. Like seriously, the whole image is so crisp, it's absolutely crazy good. Now while that sounds good, it is only half of the story. See, what happens is that the Mi 10T Pro suffers from the same 108 megapixel defect as the bigger Xiaomi Mi 10 and the other 108 megapixel sensors all. See, the issue here is that the center point of the image will be very much into focus and you'll get super crisp details and everything like that. However, the rest of the subject, even though it's part of the same image, but the rest of the subject will very much be out of focus. And that is one thing that Xiaomi tried to fix, at least they had stated that they'll be fixing it because it's an aperture related issue. Obviously, controlling that with the software is not going to be super effective or something like that. Here, let me show you what I mean. See this little brick in the center? It's absolutely spot on with the Mi 10T. Like crazy good. However, zoom out and everything else is bokeh. Now some might like it and I'll be honest, if used well, this can be a very handy tool. However, for the majority, it means losing out on a lot of subjects in your frame and that's not a desirable result. Other than that, if you talk about the colors, both the phones tend to saturate the images a bit. However, OnePlus does it a tad bit more than the Mi 10T Pro, as you can see in this next shot. It's not bad or anything, but from a neutral's perspective, I'd pick the Mi 10T's Pro shot here simply because it's slightly more realistic. Now as always, all of the camera comparisons that we do here on Guiding Tech are unbiased and are directly my opinion and analysis, and no brand can whatsoever influence them. In fact, we also provide a direct download link to all of the camera samples taken directly from the phones, so you can download them and check it out for yourself and do an analysis of your own. In fact, I'd be very much happy to see what you guys have to say about all these camera shots. So go ahead, download them, analyze them, and make sure to sound off in the comments below whether you agree with my analysis or you have a different opinion. There are no wrong answers or wrong opinions here. Everyone has their own opinion and we at Guided Tech welcome everyone's opinion. So yeah, go ahead. Now moving on to the ultrawide sensor, let's first talk about the primary shot. Both the phones perform equally well, though the Mi 10T Pro's camera, coupled with over-sharpening, results in slightly better details. Now switching to the ultrawide sensor, and boy do we have some contrasting images. For starters, the Mi 10T Pro absolutely blows the 8T out in terms of the clarity and sharpness. That said, the 8T retains the same color profile that it had in the primary sensor, while the Xiaomi device changes the color profile a lot. It's way off balanced, so there's that. Even in this next shot, you can see that the Mi 10T Pro has slight edge in details wherever it can focus, that is. However, once you switch to the ultrawide sensor, the color profile changes a lot. Now one more thing that this shot also highlights is that at least in terms of the ultrawide sensor, both the phones are equally decent in HDR processing. Next up, we have human shots. The Mi 10T Pro produces a super contrasty shot while the OnePlus 8T gets the balance right. Now the skin tones look slightly more natural on Xiaomi's shot, but I think most of us would agree that as a whole, the 8T shot looks more appealing. Turning on the portrait mode, the edge detection on both the phones seem to be at par. However, the OnePlus 8T shot looks a bit more crisper and sharper. Now, moving on to the rear video, well, let's just take a look.
So I'm recording 1080p 30fps footage from the OnePlus 8T, which is on my right, and the Mi 10T, which is on my left. Softly panning the camera around, the Mi 10T's footage looks to be a bit more stable. I haven't turned on the super steady mode on either devices, you know, the extra stability mode and all that stuff. But let me know if you figured out what was the word I was trying to say right now that I just stopped midway. But anyway, yeah, in terms of stabilization, both of them look good. Colors look great on both of devices. The Mi 10T does, if you look at the greens over here, does seem to be saturating things a bit more. But once again, I'll take a look at it on my desktop to see which phone does provide a better job. But okay, here's one thing that I want to test. How does the HDR perform when you look at it like this? And safe to say, both the phones do an excellent job. I think Xiaomi has a better production here, but if I just tap on OnePlus's photo video, nope, Xiaomi has a much better job here, much better. Okay, so once again I'm shooting with the OnePlus 8T on my right and the Mi 10T on my left. Though the difference this time is that both the super stable modes, super steady modes and whatever they want to call it are turned on. Panning the camera around, and I think it looks smoother on the OnePlus, while there is some slight delay. Yeah, as you can see, there is some slight delay on the Mi 10T in terms of the stabilization. I'm gonna walk and you tell me which camera you find more stable. I'm gonna give the Xiaomi the benefit of doubt because it's on my less stable left hand, but even then both the footages look very crisp and very stable. That is one thing to keep in mind while shooting. Yeah, I'm just gonna run a bit so you can get an idea of that as well. Yeah, even in that, oh my god, I really can't tell a difference in terms of stability while running on both the phones. So yeah, that is a big factor.
Now in terms of selfies, both the phones perform pretty much neck to neck in terms of the normal selfies. The details are there on both the shots and the color reproduction is pretty good. However, switching to the portrait mode, it's evident that the OnePlus 8T's edge detection is better. Not by a lot, but if you zoom into the hair strands, you'll see what I'm talking about. Oh yeah, let's talk about the selfie videos now.
Alright boys, now I'm recording 1080p 30fps footage from the Mi 10 Pro, which is on my left, and the OnePlus 8T, which is on my right. And okay, so I'm walking normally. This is a very clear area, I'll just show you that in a bit. But yeah, as you can see behind me, yeah, I'm on top of a fort. Especially came for this photo shoot. It's one of my favorite places to shoot because as you can see, it has clear light falling on my face at all times. And yeah, so in terms of the overall face lighting, the OnePlus seems to be doing a tad bit of a better job because the the Mi 10T looks a bit warmer, but then again it could be because of the LCD versus the AMOLED. Though this is one of the best LCDs out there, but once again I'll see it on my desktop for a better look. But panning the camera around, okay, let's just take a look at the HDR, and both of them are doing a good job. The sun right behind me, see, yeah, still a pretty good job. I mean, there's not a lot to complain here, and yeah, they both look pretty good, I must say. For the price difference that both the phones offer, I think the Mi 10T does offer an experience that is very comparable to the OnePlus 8T. But then again, the Mi 10T is locked to 30 FPS on both 720p and 1080p and does not do 4K at all. So there is that factor as well. Well, let's see. Of course, let me know if you like this clean shaven look of mine. I doubt anyone would like it, but it is what it is for now.
Next up, let's talk about the low light performance of both these phones. See, in this first shot, the OnePlus 8T allows for more light to be fed to the sensor as compared to the Xiaomi Mi 10T Pro. Switching on their respective night modes kinda reverses the roles, but in different ways, each positive in their own. With the Mi 10T Pro, you get slightly more light, while with the OnePlus 8T, you get more details and contrast over its normal counterpart. Now in this next shot, the Mi 10T Pro's shot looks a bit brighter, but it's mainly just a layer of brightness added to the overall image instead of actually illuminating the subject. Turn on the night mode and well, the 8T easily wins this. The colors, the details, everything is better on the OnePlus shot as compared to Xiaomi Mi 10. Now in this landscape shot, things were a bit more even. In fact, both the shots look pretty much the same, both in the normal mode and even in the night mode. However, the OnePlus 8T once again triumphs for the way it manages to remove those light waves. This is the common thing present on many devices, something that previous OnePlus devices also had. And just for that very simple factor, it seems to be a better shot. Because other than that, both the images are spot on in terms of details, lighting, color reproduction, and even capturing the whole ambience. Lastly, moving on to low light selfies, the Mi 10T Pro has a night mode for it as well. However, it's safe to say that both those shots suffer from a lot of grains. Now, it's not like the 8T shot is perfect. I mean, it's full of noise too. However, I think I would pick the 8T here since it's the lesser of two evils. So, which phone is the winner here? Well, I would say if you're into photography, the OnePlus 8T is a easy choice here. Like it easily crushes the Mi 10T outside, especially when it comes to HDR and overall color reproduction. However, if you're into videography, the Mi 10T is a much better pick, especially for that super steady stabilization. However, it's not like either phones are behind their counterpart. That said, once you consider the overall value, I think just for a price difference of 3000, the OnePlus 8T definitely makes for a better choice if you're concerned about the camera. Now, another thing that obviously Ashish will be mentioning in his full review, but something that I noticed while doing all these photo shoots and video shoots was the fact that the OnePlus 8T is also lighter at about 20-25 grams lighter than the Mi 10T Pro. And that comes in very handy because when you're trying to capture a lot of photos or especially videos, yes, Xiaomi has got great stabilization in its favor. But the fact is that when your device in itself is lightweight, your hand gets a bit more steadier. So yeah, personally, if I was taking a lot of shots, I found the whole process of taking photos from the OnePlus 8T to be a bit more easier and more ergonomic and lighter or less taxing on my hand as compared to the Mi 10T Pro. Now, I'm not saying the Mi 10T Pro is a bad phone, it's a great phone. The camera is amazing. But yeah, it's the same story as what happened with the Mi 10 when it was launched against the OnePlus 8 Pro. The Mi 10 was a great device, but yeah, for 5000 the OnePlus 8 Pro made a lot more sense. Once again, the Mi 10T Pro is a great device, but for 3000 more, at least in terms of cameras, the OnePlus 8T makes a lot more sense. Well, that was it. As always, we have a download link to all of the images and videos. Like I said, you can just download them and watch them, analyze them, and yeah, just comment down below to let me know what you think of all those shots. Also, if you'd like to see more camera comparisons or more reviews or anything other around the Mi 10T Pro or the OnePlus 8T or basically any other phone, make sure to comment down below and I'll do my best to deliver on time. Till then, this is One from Guiding Tech and I'll see you in the next one.